We are the Institute for Intuitive Intelligence, revolutionizing intuition by training spiritually fierce women globally as qualified intuitive guides. Subscribe for the leading research and teachings on the conversation of intuition development.
Good morning, dear beloveds, or evening, wherever you are in the world. Happy Monday if you are here in Australia. And I have woken up with just a remarkable sense of energy and enthusiasm. I got up early as I usually do, and I did my devotion and then my yoga and then some writing, and just really feeling very, very inspired by life right now, which is lovely because, you know, everything is cyclical and changes, but today feels like one of those glorious days, and it is a very glorious time for me. I shared a little bit on my personal page in regards to how much is happening in November. I do love November. Now, you know, I'm not into astro weather, but I know that there are archetypal qualities to this particular time of year for me, and it is my birth month, and I feel often a sense of like the energy is just so intense and available, and when I know how to harness it, I can work with it really powerfully. And for me, that is through creativity, through writing, research, and lots of big ideas land for me at this time. Life is full and abundant for so many of us right now as well, but it is just, there's so much potent energy available when we know how to harness it. And that's where I'm at right now. And that leads me to, drumroll please, no, this is something I love to talk about. I talked about it in lots of different places, but I guess what happens for me is my ideas always, you know, this is evolution, they sink more deeply into me. I understand them more profoundly than I did when they first landed. And it's always my desire to share. You know, the teacher archetype is very strong in me. So when things become clearer for me, I want to offer that extension of my understanding likewise to you. So fairly provocatively, I've said, you know, if you are a Priestess Mystic Leader archetype, if you're a healer, if you're an intuitive, if you serve from that space where you connect into that unlimited consciousness that I call non-local intuition in your service, then there is a problem with us stopping at intuition. And that's what I want to unpack a little bit today. I really became very aware of my function. I talk about, you know, leading a revolution in the understanding of intuition, but really what I recognize more specifically, my task is to disrupt the current education around intuition and to really, you know, change the way that people are thinking about intuition, and to offer something greater or more, in my opinion, you know, evidence-based and, you know, really deeply lived and understood and researched, and to stop having such superficial conversations. So we are all innately intuitive. We all have that. That is not special. It's not magic. No one has it more than anyone else. We can cultivate it. We can educate it. We can grow it. We can expand it. All of this, you know. What matters, however, to really serve from this space where it is your intuition that is leading, and so many of you do, is to be the demonstration of our faith. So if we are intuitive, but in our own lives, we're able to serve from that place, but in our own lives, we deny, you know, what our intuitive knowing is telling us, or we take the easy path, or we don't meet our fears and addictions, or we indulge our littleness, we are not congruent. We are not the demonstration. And there is no leadership without self-leadership. So when I teach leadership in the third level and in my postgraduate programs, we are not speaking to, you know, leading others. It is always the idea of leading the self, because there is only one of us here. And in this context, if we are not the demonstration, then we are simply, you know, full of shit, basically. We're not able to lead anyone else if we're not leading ourselves. So what it takes is for us to move from, yes, I'm intuitive, yes, I can serve from that space, yes, I can make other people feel great, to actually embodying our intuition. And an embodied intuition is where you are living and breathing, acting upon those intuitive knowings, working your ass off to ensure that your intuition is coming through the clearest possible vessel by clearing out those subconscious programs. And that's really vital, of course, because our intuition, our fear, our ego identified self can pretend to be our intuition if we're not working on keeping, excuse me, that vessel really, really clear. So this spiritual fierceness is what turns our intuition into a living, breathing, embodied practice that we can guide all of our life with. And that is intuitive intelligence. So when I speak about intuition, even if I use the word intuition, I'm usually referencing intuitive intelligence, because for those that I train and for myself, intuition alone is not it. The formula is intuition, innate within each of us, plus spiritual fierceness, which means do the damn work, show up with devotion, self-leadership, meet my subconscious fear programs that are blocking my connection to the infinite one mind, and be committed to do that every damn day, equals intuitive intelligence. So intuitive intelligence is not just something we possess, it is something that we have cultivated through an implied, embodied deepening into our faith. It is a faith-based system. And you can have intuition without faith. And it's always really interesting to me when I meet people who are interested in increasing their intuition, but are not interested in meeting their own holiness, or not interested in intuition as an reflection of their evolving consciousness, which to me is their intuition is a byproduct of our awakening. What is intuition if it is not the evolution of our consciousness, because we're becoming connected more and more deeply to that one mind? So I really don't understand intuition outside of faith, a faith-based reality outside of a spirituality. And that might be controversial, but it really does not work for me when I am training those amazing women to increase their intuitive intelligence. What we're connecting to is the God mind. So if you are going to do that and moving towards that, and you are denying your own holiness, and you're denying the holiness of the cosmos and everything around us and within us, then we're at war with ourselves. We're at war with the cosmic laws, and we're, you know, sitting outside of a congruent reality. And it's really uncompromising for me. There is no way to increase our intuition if we're doing it in this revolutionary way, rather than the trinkets and superstitions of the New Age. It's just about increasing your biological intuition, your gut instinct, and staying inside of your ego-identified self. But to actually step into that truly uncompromising connection to infinite consciousness requires that you move beyond that little perspective of yourself and you embody something greater. I'm just going to check if there's any questions. So it's very, very exciting to me to be able to speak about this, because I know that you know, we can interchange these ideas of intuition and intuitive intelligence. We can use them without really knowing what we're meaning. But for me, as a researcher in this field and an educator in this field, and someone who wants to disrupt the education around intuition, it's very, very important that we keep bringing this conversation to the fore. Intuition is not intuitive intelligence. Intuitive intelligence is what we want. That is how we are going to increase our power to serve. That is how we be the demonstration. That is how we be true sacred leaders, because it isn't enough to say one thing to your clients and your students and then go home and do another. And that requires that spiritual fierceness. And that's why, you know, we spend a year training our intuitive intelligence in the 3rd level program. And to be able to call yourself an intuitive guide means you have immersed yourself for a year in that container of self-leadership, of disrupting your own littleness, of disrupting your own small ideas about yourself and about what intuition is. Intuition is not a small idea. Intuition is the beginning for so many of us of awakening to the truth that we are one with the one mind, that we are infinite, unlimited consciousness. And if we're going towards our intuition to simply get our ego's needs met, then we're very likely, as I said, breaking the cosmic laws. So this year-long immersion includes this, you know, very rigorous training, but so vitally, it also includes deep mentoring and that deep scaffolding and being held by your sisters as you detox those own, you know, comfort zones, really, that have held you and perhaps your views of intuition, the views of the way it all works, in a paradigm that is very, very comfortable for the ego and isn't going to challenge us to move outside of our own, you know, safety zone. But it isn't actually accurate, and it isn't actually something that is going to move all of us as a collective towards the truth of what we are. And because there is only one of us here, whatever we do for ourselves alone, we do for all, right? So where we play small, where we stay in our, you know, very comfortable trinkets and superstitions around spirituality, and intuition, where we defend our, littleness, we are doing that on behalf of the collective. And then we look at the world and say, why isn't everyone evolving? And why do we have this kind of president or that kind of government or this kind of situation with a pandemic? And it was like, well, look to yourself, look to your own actions. Where are you playing in that space of, I am, just isolated, alone, wanting the comforts, wanting the answers, going to my intuition to get, my ego's needs met, or to get my ego's questions answered, and then to try and hope to see something different in the world around you. It's really impossible. It's a paradox, a contradiction. So I am, really excited about this stuff, as you know, and I am very excited to share. There's a couple of events coming up the next week or two that you can join with me for free to hang out in this space. So the first one is happening this Thursday night with our beloved High Priestess Mariam, the non-local archetypal energy of the third level program. All of us are invited to come into the container that is created by that archetypal energy to go in an embodied process of putting down our littleness. So even if what I'm saying to you right now is like, okay, that sounds great, but how? Come and join me on Thursday night, 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. You need to register. I will put the link in here. And really, come into a space where even if the mind cannot necessarily go where I'm asking you to go, you can be invited into a vibrational match for what I'm sharing. And that will be a profound opportunity. Mariam is, that energy is so potent. And I've begun speaking about congruence, I've begun a fast today that will see me through until the end of the week to prepare myself to hold that vibration on behalf of all of us. And I'm very, very excited about what is possible when we gather together, and of course, what we can do for the collective. The following week, I'm not sure when, but I will make sure that you find out, and I'll make sure that you can register for that. I'm offering a brand new seminar in understanding the evolution, or this disruption to the intuition conversation that I have been able to deepen into as I've been writing the second book, and through a conversation with my alumni community, the graduates of the third level, we've really been able to flesh out some very exciting new ideas, new research in understanding our intuition and our intuitive intelligence. So that is called Visionary, a new vision of intuition. I'm very, very keen to share all of that with you. We'll be talking about the idea of the progression of spiritual agency, which is a term that came from Gabrielle Hall, one of our graduate priestesses, which excites me so much, and also looking at subconscious intuition. So that will be also experiential, but there will be lots of great juicy theory in there if you geek out on this stuff as much as I do. So these two events coming up in the next 2 weeks, incredibly excited. We're almost finished with the third level interviews for 2021 intake. So please don't hesitate to book if you haven't done so yet. I'll share all the links with this live, but thank you for joining me. It's, it's exciting times, and we are feeling that quickening. We're feeling the moving of the energy, the awakening of consciousness, and we should be innovating as spiritual beings right now, not just replicating what we have always done, what we've always known, what we've inherited from our ancestors. It is a time of spiritual innovation because we are beyond the end times. So if you are clinging to old ideas and you're afraid to put them down because that is always the way it's been, that's how you were taught that way, or your ancestors were taught that way, or your teachers were taught that way, perhaps now is the time to start to break open and disrupt your own education around our spiritual superpower, to actually reclaim or claim a deeper relationship of self-leadership and sovereignty and spiritual agency. All right, feeling good. So excited to be with you all, and I'll see you all very soon. This is, it's a good time.